Morning, good afternoon, good evening. Elliot here with Movie Files with a brand new spoiler-free review. And today we are talking about, as you can see from the title, the new A24’s science fiction horror film by the name of Backrooms, which comes with its own internet lore, which I vaguely knew about, which we'll talk about in today's spoiler-free review. But before we get into all the nitty-gritty, I want to thank y'all for giving me a chance, clicking on the video and hearing my thoughts about this film. Before we get into it, consider liking, sharing, leaving your thoughts in the comments about the film, about the lore, about your excitement, and of course, consider subscribing to the channel. So, Backrooms, my fandom or my knowledge of this series. So I knew about it, right? But I would say I dipped my toe into the lore a couple years ago online, but I didn't really go into the deep end of the waters. So again, knew a little bit about it. I would mostly say that this was a new experience for the most part, obviously with it being on the big screen compared to being online. But nonetheless, say all that to say, I will go back and revisit the lore because I love this world, the mythology, the world building that's introduced in this film. My goodness, color me impressed. Now, if you guys do not know, this comes from Kane Parsons, who created this series online. I know there's been other variations from other creators, but I believe he's like the originator. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. But the man is 20 years old. I think he was maybe 18 or 19 when he shot this movie. I like, good gosh, we are in a renaissance. We are in a new age of filmmakers that come from, YouTube and online sketch comedy, Zach Cregger's, more recently Curry Barker, obviously Jordan Peele, and the list goes on and on. And most recently, Chris Stuckman and all that. We are in an age right now where we are getting some new voices, some exciting voices, and Kane is one of those voices. Not to just immediately compare him to, the greats, but this movie was very singular. I know there's been online chatter about, oh, he didn't really direct it. He's only 20 years old. A24 wouldn't let him. Shut the hell up. This is a singular voice because when you see at the end of the film, you see producers James Wan, Osgood Perkins, and a couple other notable names, but you can tell when there's multiple vision. Like, a James Wan film, a Osgood Perkins film, but this was a Kane Parsons film. This was a singular voice that was very distinct, that had shades of and again, I'm not saying he's on this level, but a Stanley Kubrick nature to it, a David Lynchian vibe to it. Like, this young man really did a great job. Like, his eye, the way he creates atmosphere, it is a skill to really know how to build tension and suspense and keep you engaged in a very, the thing I really enjoyed about this film is that it felt familiar but so different at the same time in regards to how they build the scares and how they build the suspense. Very much a psychological movie that I was really invested in. Like, again, Kane, man, good job on you. Like, I'm really excited to see what he does next, whether that's Backrooms 2, because they do leave that door open, pun intended, for more stories to be told. But whether it's a sequel or something else, the eye, the vision, the grip on what he's presenting to the audience, the creativity, which we'll talk about the production in a second. Very impressed by the direction of this film, because I know, I'm just going to say this up top now, this will not be for everyone, but it was for me. Now, going on to some other things I was very impressed by, and I don't know how he was able to pull these incredible actors, but Chiwetel Ejiofor and Renate Reinsve were incredible, because I really enjoyed what the story was getting at from a mental health angle and the idea of loneliness and searching for something that you might not get in your day-to-day life. Like, I really appreciated that, but if other actors were in this role, I don't think it would have hit as hard, at least for me, as it did in this film. Performances, number one, Chiwetel Ejiofor gets in his bag on a lot of different scenes, especially the emotional depths that we experience with his character, what he's going through, how he sees himself in the world, why he positions himself in the way he does in this film. I thought he was excellent. If you all don't know this about me, Renate is one of my favorite actresses. I fell in love with her as an actress with one of my favorite films of all time and The Worst Person in the World. And she's just continuing to impress me with everything else I've seen her in. She was excellent in this film. I really enjoyed her narrative and her backstory involving her mental health and her kind of traumatic, I don't say traumatic, but no, I would say traumatic. Her experiences with her mom really played into the narrative. So performances really elevate, which I think, if given to other actors that aren't as talented, would have been probably a mediocre story. But with the elevation of these actors, it really brought it to another level for me. I got to give all the praise. You know, we talked about the direction, we talked about the writing, we talked about the performances, the production design. I don't know if I've ever experienced something that was so off-kiltered, so familiar, so scary, so like scary in a sense of like, why is this getting under my skin? We're talking about furniture, random furniture in the wall, shoes coming out of the ground, in these offices. Like, I don't know why it's so unsettling, but it works so well for me in this movie. Again, it goes back to how they build the suspense, how they build the tension, and I was just so impressed by the various levels within the back rooms and how, you know, there are some familiar rooms, but then the further you go in the back rooms, the more creativity, the more like crazy. It felt like I was on an acid trip in a nightmare, and also like on a Alice in Wonderland journey in the best way possible. Like, I was so impressed by the levels that we go on with the back rooms, and the production was immaculate. Speaking of immaculate, if y'all know me, I'm a score head. I love a score. I think a score is just as important as dialogue, just as important as direction. Like, I love a good score in a film because it's another character and it really enhances scenes. The score in this, very, very well done. I'm such a big fan. I can't wait to download it, check it out, and get in my Backrooms mode because I was really impressed by the score. So if I were to get any into the criticisms and the nitpicks of it all, and this is going to depend on the viewer, right? I'm a person that likes ambiguous endings, and you can kind of not create your own narrative, but you kind of can put your own stamp on what you think the film is saying at the end. Because I do think the third act, and in particularly maybe the last 15 minutes or so, might be divisive for some people, but I like it. I didn't love it as far as how things wrap up. But prior to that, and I'll go back to my negatives in a second, but prior to that, the build up in the first half, the second half when we're starting to explore more of the back, like, excellent stuff. But then again, I will say, out of the 3-act structure, the third act is probably my least favorite. Outside of that, man, I really don't have any gripes or issues with this movie. Again, I will say it will not be for everyone. It is a slow burn. It is very kind of, you know, it takes its time. It is very deliberate. It is very complex in a certain degree. And it doesn't do shock value in regards to blood and guts and jump scares, which I do love that. But this is an Obsession. I know that's the big talk of the town, rightfully so. I love Obsession. But this is a different horror experience. It's a science fiction slow burn with a tinge of suspense, tinge of mystery, and I enjoyed this film. I'm going to give The Back Rooms a 4 out of 5, man. I am really excited to see this again. The experience, it is a trippy experience to say the least, but an experience that I thoroughly enjoyed. Again, 4 out of 5 for me for Back Rooms. I don't want to just flat out say I recommend you all to see this, because it might not be for you, but if you have been watching me for a while and we kind of align in regards to taste, I think you all would like this film. And when you all see it, whether you loved it, hated it, somewhere in the middle, I need to know your thoughts in the comments below. What worked, what didn't work, thoughts on the direction, performances, the story, that third act, did it work for you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. We got some more things to talk about in the coming weeks, more movies, more shows. So if you guys like these type of discussions, consider sticking around by subscribing to the channel today. Thank you all for giving me your time. Hope you all are staying safe, and I'll catch you all on the next video.